Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're super excited to chat with you guys today. I think hopefully, as you know, this is a weekly thing that we're doing these office hours. So we'd love to have you guys join us for any in the future. The topic today is leveraging social media to boost e-commerce traffic. So I'm going to go ahead and let Magda take over here, do introductions, and we'll get started.
I'm Magda. I am the Director of Marketing Strategy at Aspire IQ, and I'm joined by my lovely colleague, Madison, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. My name's Madison, and I'm the Senior Marketing Strategist on the strategy team along with Magda.
We are super excited to have, I believe this is our 4th community and coffee office hour session. So we were getting a ton of questions from our brand community around e-commerce optimization during this time. So essentially leveraging social media, as Lauren said, as a way to drive traffic to the website. So specifically when people are in this period where they're either purchasing more and e-commerce is booming, or people are just having brands in consideration, there's strategies that can really support both. So that's what we'll be talking about today.
Okay, so I'll kick it off with the first question. The first question is, brands are reporting first quarter projections and some are seeing major drops in sales. Adidas said first quarter profits fell more than 90% due to coronavirus store closures and reported a 19% decline in the first quarter net sales and predicted sales will fall by 40% in the second quarter. So what is e-commerce and sales looking like this month compared to last month at the height of COVID-19?
So the good news is that it's recovering. So there are a couple different moving parts here. So for some e-commerce brands, they actually saw that March was a phenomenal month when it came to sales, specifically brands that are in the fitness space, that are in packaged goods, anything that's kind of freezer safe. They were seeing a massive spike in March. But to your point around Adidas, fashion brands were really hit hard. But we are seeing overall trends that April is a month of recovery. So there was a report that we were looking at that basically indicated that not only are brands in the fashion space recovering, but they're doing better than they were this time last year. And we'll talk through different social strategies that can help support that, or that has helped support that. But a lot of it is due to the fact that as there's a bit more stability, and people are kind of returning to maybe not normal, but some sense of normalcy, things are starting to loosen up a bit and people are kind of getting back into their original buying habits.
Yes, we definitely have been seeing a lot of jumps in sales for April in something like the fashion industry. I think that it's a great sign for brands that are kind of in that space, and it's great to see that we're kind of recovering a little bit more from especially March, because we saw a huge drop in sales across like a ton of industries in March. But one of the things that I think we need to be a little bit of cautious about, and I think that as we progress through like May, June, July, we can kind of come back to this. But right now, like a lot of retailers are, throwing out promo codes on social media and things like that. So those heavy discounts may be why sales have kind of been going up, because a lot of people are being able to get things at a better price. But we just have to be a little bit, that does push the average order value down a little bit. So this may not be super sustainable over the long run. But I think that over the next few months, as things slowly start to go back to normal, hopefully, we'll continue to see, people that have been able to connect with brands on social media right now through these the discounts they're giving out, and just like the purposes they're getting behind with donating and things like that to, No Kid Hungry and different organizations like that. Hopefully that will in the long term make people brand lovers.
I think that's a critical piece, is that, sales are going up right now. Madison, you're spot on that a lot of it is because of these steep discounts, but I actually agree with your last point, and I think it's worth double clicking on that. Even if, order value is going down, ultimately by doing things like getting people through the door, you have so much leverage there because you're able to retarget them, you're able to nurture that customer, so that hopefully as, the sales are winding down, they're still customers for life. And I think that this is a strategy that actually really lends itself to social, because that's an easy place to reach a new audience and put really creative, really authentic content in front of them, and kind of bring them in with something like a discount or a sale, and then nurture them over time.
The next question is, what are the most important social strategies to use when trying to drive traffic to your e-commerce?
I love this question. So I think that one big value with all social media platforms is to get people to your website. Ultimately, again, as I mentioned before, you can use that for retargeting. You're able to get your brand message in front of a broader audience. And there's a bunch of different strategies. So I think that, Madison, we can tag team this and go through a couple of the ones that we talk about a lot on the strategy team. But the first one I would say is just, let's talk about the types of people that you're partnering with on social media as a way to drive traffic. So one thing that we've seen be really successful for brands is to work with micro influencers in a way in which they're creating super authentic content on your behalf, and the content is focused on brand values with some sort of call to action being to visit the site. So the reason why micro and nano type influencers are really interesting is because they're opening up a two-way dialogue with their community. So they're answering questions on behalf of your brand. They're talking about their favorite products. And it's kind of, instead of, you know, a macro massive influencer just shouting at their audience saying, go visit this website, it is a conversation that someone is starting within their community. Let's say you're a brand in the home decor space and you partner with micro influencers. They're crafting a story over several weeks around their home renovation and how your brand supported it. And consistently the underlying message is, check out, you know, all of my favorite picks at this specific landing page. And then they can respond in the comments to their community, have a dialogue around it. And that's where we've seen a lot of success with actually moving the needle on website traffic.
Another one, and I love the idea of the home decor. I think that's something that is kind of one of the best ways to create content, because we are sitting in our homes and doing a lot of home decor projects and kind of moving things around. Pinterest is really a visual search engine. They actually moved away from being considered a social media platform. I still think they play a huge role in, you know, leveraging other social media channels to drive really more e-commerce. 83% of pinners have made a purchase based on content that they saw on Pinterest. So right there is a great way to get site conversions. I'm a huge fan of Pinterest. It honestly influences a ton of the purchase decisions that I make. And I just think it's a really great way to capture customers' interest through that visual content. And it has a very, very high click-through rate. User behavior on Pinterest is way less about, you know, scrolling through like an Instagram or a Facebook or TikTok. A lot of times when you're going on Pinterest, you have browsing intent. You know, you're not just on there without an agenda. The content that you put on Pinterest, it stays around for, I think the shelf life is like 3 months on average. So you're not just finding people, you know, right when you post about it, but you're also finding people, you know, 3 months from now that maybe can then come back and shop your items through there.
Another strategy that is leveraging, it's not necessarily a social strategy, but basically this idea of leveraging influencer content across your entire marketing stack is a great way to drive traffic. Specifically, I want to talk about email marketing. Ultimately, the goal when you think about email marketing is to get people out of the inbox and onto the website. And one thing that, again, we've seen be wildly successful, and we have stats behind it, is by using influencer content, certainly their creatives from a photo perspective, but also even capturing some of their text, long form copy, things like that, and putting that into your email marketing campaigns. So one example is the home decor example. They basically created capsule collections with their influencers and highlighted that in their email marketing sequences. So if I were to be redesigning, you know, my room, my house, whatever it may be, picking all the products from said brand and having the brand then take that and say, these are Magda's favorites. This, you know, here's how she's styling this couch, this rug, etc. That is wildly beneficial when it comes to click-through and getting people, again, out of the inbox and onto the website. And then another thing that we're seeing is actually featuring influencer content in triggered emails, so like cart abandonment, post-purchase, etc. Instead of just saying like, don't forget about this product, say don't forget about this product, and then create a sense of FOMO by highlighting other ways in which different people, influencers, people from your community, etc., are using this product. I think especially right now, this is going to be really important for people that are not making a purchase right now, but you want to keep the brand top of mind and have that consideration down the line. So people don't have the resources to buy a new couch, saying, you know, we saw that this was in your cart. Here's how other people are styling it, and you know, we'll be around when it comes time to purchase. I just think that the triggered emails are so clever because it really does create that sense of FOMO, and again, move people directly to the website so that you can retarget later.
One of the other ways that I love kind of engage with micro influencers is through Instagram story content. So, and I think that's the easiest way to get people to your website, because you can create all of these very authentic, like right in the moment content through Instagram story and Instagram story live. And you can have people being pushed right to websites right from that Instagram story content. So definitely creating these like unique landing pages where when you're working with an influencer, when they're talking about it, they can go ahead and, add that swipe up link, and then it goes right to a custom landing page on your website that has that same content from that influencer on that landing page. I think Ulta does like a really good job of this. They have, not necessarily with just influencer content, but they have a skincare analysis that they have on their website. And I actually came across this because an influencer was talking about it, and I swiped up right to this skincare analysis, and then it allows you to take a picture of your face and it will analyze your face right there. I didn't even have to go off of Instagram. I was literally still on Instagram going through the Instagram story swipe up. And then through that analysis, it gave me an incredible range of products that they recommend to me. And it was all, I hadn't even gone, into my Chrome on my phone. I just had stayed on the platform, and I really loved that aspect of it. I think it's a really cool, different sort of digital way that they were able to get me to the Ulta website. Like Oscar Mayer is doing a really fun thing on May 2nd, so tomorrow, where they're hosting a front yard cookout initiative where they're asking, everyone to go on their front yards and do a little barbecue, obviously staying socially distant. But that's another great initiative where you can have tons of people, definitely micro influencers or just brand lovers in general, showing off on Instagram different slides of their front barbecue. And it doesn't have to be this whole, photo shoot that they set up on their front lawn. I mean, they're just asking you to host a barbecue. They're not like, hey, host a barbecue with, these Oscar Mayer products. They're just saying, get outside, go, create this content with your family. And they're also going to go ahead and donate on that day 1 million meals to nonprofit Feeding America.
It really is like an integrated marketing strategy. And especially right now when there are marketers that are having budgets that are cut, this is a really great way to stretch your budget and extract as much value as possible from what you're doing on social by leveraging those assets across the board. And not only is it kind of a way to save money, but it's proven to be incredibly effective, as you just mentioned, and it creates this 360 marketing approach. So people have a really clean and consistent journey as they are either making a purchase decision or purchasing from you.
What does this mean for major retailers that don't have an available platform for their customers to shop online? Do you think this will impact other major retailers and malls?
So I feel like we've heard a lot about malls and department stores for a while now. So this is a really great question. We talk, all day long about digital marketing and e-commerce and like how extremely important it is to a business. But I think it's interesting to kind of like take a step back and realize that there are brands out there that kind of little or no way to actually shop online. So if you think of like a Burlington, Home Goods is like a great example of that. But I did, a lot of research on this. And so during this time, I did see that analysts are really counting on like the survival of the fittest, and a Burlington, a TJ Maxx, they were in a very good position of strength before the pandemic hit. So they could honestly, they're kind of predicting that a lot of them could emerge on top. But I think one of the important things to kind of talk about is these department stores and the malls. Retail Dive did put out an article just yesterday that talked about how analysts now expect about a little more than half of all mall-based department stores to close by the end of 2021. And that's really going to shake up the e-commerce industry. People have been going to these department stores because they like to go in, they like to touch the fabrics and try things on. And Macy's actually talked about how when they closed their stores, they lost the majority of their sales. And I think that is going to be a big part to play into this with the whole idea of like malls closing. What I think they need to incorporate are more of the social media and e-commerce type tactics, but within their physical locations. They need to start like splitting up their, like a Macy's, like they need to really split up it being this giant department store Macy's and split it up into really small little entities. Make it like a Macy's Home. Make it Macy's Beauty, Macy's Fashion, Macy's Kids. And then I think that they should really invest in educating their employees. For example, like Macy's Fashion employees, they can give styling advice and posting outfit ideas on TikTok. Macy's Beauty, they can host in-store beauty events with influencers and then stream them on Instagram Live. Macy's Home, their employees take your Pinterest boards and they can show you in the store like what specific items like perfectly match your, you know, your Pinterest boards.
I love that. I think that it's a very brilliant idea of using social strategies and social tactics in store, because you're right. There are brands that, quite honestly, a shift to 100% e-commerce doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's how can you bring in those tactics to what they're able to do today.
How do you take advantage of the current time to maintain relevance for your consumer?
This is a really, really good question. And I think I've said this a lot, is my whole mindset right now and the strategies that I'm putting forward in front of my clients and our brands is to be empathetic and not opportunistic. So when it comes to driving traffic to e-commerce, I think that there are definitely ways, again, in which you can craft a message that is going to make people land on your website and be excited to be on your website without hounding them for sales, or, you know, if they click on your website, perhaps not retargeting them, you know, over and over again with the same ad. It's about understanding what their needs are right now. To just put some numbers behind it, we actually have a stat right here that, according to a report on Vengeance, 83% of consumers were saying that they are more likely to engage with a company if the company is providing a powerful experience for them. So the experience matters just as much as the product. In today's day and age, providing an experience on your e-commerce site or providing an experience through social media is going to get people excited about your brand, so that, again, you're top of mind once purchase power opens up a bit more. So I think that when we think about e-commerce traffic as a whole, a lot of brands are thinking about getting that consumer across the finish line and making a purchase. Quite honestly, that's just not going to be viable for every industry. I think that there are some that are hit quite a bit harder than others, you know, hotels, restaurants, etc. So what can you do to provide a really incredible and impactful experience, so when it does come time for them to come back to your website to shop, they have this really positive image of your brand. And I think that we actually have quite a bit of content on our blog, not to consistently be plugging our blog, but it really is great. And we have a lot of content on this topic exactly around ways in which you can create a branded experience that is going to essentially tide people over and keep your brand in the back of their minds in between purchases.
Okay, so next question is, what are some ways brands can set themselves apart from the usual e-commerce push tactics?
That is a really, really good question. And I think that there's a couple of different things that we can cover here. One initiative that has been super, super interesting to us is TikTok's new Small Gestures initiative. So essentially that enables users to send free virtual gifts from a range of different brand partners that TikTok has aligned with directly through the app. Some examples of these are a 90-day subscription to Adobe Premiere Rush, 1 month free Dash Pass subscription, 90-day trial subscription for Pandora, 2-month premium membership for Skillshare. This is a really incredible way for brands to just show that they understand that times are tough right now and they want to have a positive give back message in a really clever way. I think that this, again, is a great way to capture a new audience right now. And when purchase power opens up down the line, your brand is top of mind. A consumer's already had an interaction with your brand. They have a good position of who your brand is in their mind. And I think that Small Gestures campaign was just something that was super, super interesting to me.
Love that idea, especially because I feel like a lot of brands aren't even like attempting to incorporate TikTok right now. And I think it can be a really good avenue. And I like the idea that you mentioned where you're talking about how like what you do now is really going to impact how people think of you in the long term after all this, you know, kind of goes away. So another thing that I will say, because I think that right now you need to be very purpose focused and kind of give back focus, is Instagram just launched the ability to do this like new fundraiser option. And I think doing sort of like a donate-a-thon on like an Instagram live would be a really cool way to get people engaged with your brand, and also a great way to be giving back during this time. So maybe do have like a couple influencers. One could like host a hour-long workout class, or you could do a makeup session with one of your, you know, brand beauty experts, or, you know, really anything where you can partner with influencers or just experts, you know, for at your company, where they can kind of go on for a couple hours a day, however long you want to make it. And then you're able to really give people the freedom to donate to whoever, you know, whatever charity they feel like is important to them. Throughout the stream, you can see who has pledged money in support. And I think that that's then a great way to, you can, you know, call out people on Instagram Live, hey, thanks so much. You can actually tap like giving them a high five. And so being able to see who is interacting with you during these Instagram Lives are great ways to then, you know, afterwards say, you know, thank you so much. If you donated, like, please sign up here, and, you know, we'll, you know, send you, you know, some free product, a thank you gift, whatever it may be. So it's a great way to really be engaging with your audience.
I hope that this was helpful for everyone listening. Again, this is our 4th office hour, so we're really crafting this alongside our community. We're kind of taking a page out of our own community playbook. So with that, we are going to be sending you guys a survey just to understand what you liked, what topics you might want to see in the future. So keep an eye out for that.